It is scary time right now, so it's just, you have to, be safe and look after yourself, even though if companies don't care about it.
In the northern suburbs of Melbourne, Shayla Sakshi is getting ready for another day's work as a security guard. Just months ago, the 19-year-old was hired to work in quarantine hotels.
I was hired on a WhatsApp group, and I just got told that you need to be here at this certain time, and you're going to dress in a certain way, and this is your pay rate, and that's it.
Shayla is the first security guard to speak openly about her experience at the Stamford Plaza, one of 2 Melbourne hotels at the heart of the outbreak, ravaging Victoria.
A worker at a Melbourne quarantine hotel has tested positive to COVID-19.
The bungling of the program in Melbourne hotels is largely being blamed for the city's worrying outbreaks.
We have some very clear suspicions about what's gone on here. There are a number of staff who, despite knowing about infection control protocols, have decided to make a number of errors.
Shayla claims there was no such thing as infection control protocols at the Stamford Plaza when she worked there in May.
We didn't get any training when I got there. We just had to put a mask on, put gloves on, and that's it. It was really like, okay, how do I wear a mask? How do I sanitize?
At the end of her first day on the job, Shayla claims she was told by her supervisors to bring her own personal protective equipment to wear the next day.
I finished my shift and we had a meeting in a room. So they're like, okay guys, you guys got to come in a team, bring your own masks from tomorrow, bring your own gloves, your own sanitizers, because we might run out because we have so many guards on site, this and that. That was the first shift I did, and first and last shift. I just didn't want to go back there.
Within weeks of Shayla cancelling the rest of her shifts at the hotel, an outbreak linked to security guards and their close contacts was confirmed.
I just knew something would happen because it's just like guards were, hitting each other, they were hugging each other, they were touching each other. They weren't actually serious about how serious this COVID is. It's just they were taking it as a joke, like, oh, it's just some virus that anyone can get, we're not going to get it.
MSS Security was the company contracted to run security at the Stamford Plaza. When contacted by 7:30, both MSS and the Stamford declined to comment.
It's necessary for the quarantine to be in place because you don't want anyone to end up getting COVID, but there are things that could have been improved upon. Our care wasn't really looked after properly, we felt.
Lita and Robert Plogue spent 14 days at another quarantine hotel, the Crown Metropole, in May. They'd both contracted COVID-19 in the Netherlands. Robert spent 9 days in an induced coma in hospital. After flying home to Australia, the couple was surprised by some staff and security guards in hotel quarantine who they thought were not alert to the dangers.
They didn't always keep an eye on us because they were too busy on their phone.
I don't think they fully realised what the spread of infection does, how easy it is spread. The whole system that they've put in place to prevent the spread of the virus is just useless then.
A lack of training for private security guards has been raised as a key issue in Melbourne's hotel quarantine debacle, which is now the subject of an inquiry. But that's not all. Many of these guards aren't actually employed by security companies, but are instead hired by subcontractors on a daily basis for cash payments.
It may even be that every case of COVID-19 in Victoria in recent weeks could be sourced to the hotel quarantine program.
In late March, the Victorian government contracted private security operators without a tender process to guard hotel quarantine guests. But for security guards like Shayla, the hiring process proved murky. She didn't even know which subcontractor she was working for.
I got put on a WhatsApp group where they actually contacted me and they're like, would you like to work at this place? And I'm like, I don't know what you guys are, what company, nothing else.
If you are performing the work as the company yourself or if you're subcontracting, there has to be transparency. If there's no transparency, then there should be some questions asked.
730 has obtained a series of WhatsApp messages which reveal how some security guards were recruited to work in Melbourne's quarantine hotels. On May 30, 3 days after the first hotel outbreak at Ridges, there's a call out for 40 guards to do quarantine work at that hotel. One person in the group expresses concern about 6 corona-positive guards in the Carlton Hotel, but there was no response. Unified Security was the company responsible for quarantine security at Ridges on Swanston. The company told 730 it entered into a relationship with 5 subcontractors and all were properly screened and licensed.
I think that ultimately this is going to be really difficult to get to the bottom of, because who are the subcontractors, how many were there, and then how many people did they supply? And I would suggest if you're looking at the WhatsApp sort of system, if that's their proof of delivery, then there's going to be a lot of questions asked.
As the CEO of a Melbourne-based security company, Brian Goodsblom refuses to use subcontractors.
The moment you start subcontracting is when you start losing control. So I'm not surprised that the hotel quarantine situations occurred, given that a number of these situations and practices have occurred for many, many years.
We have to wait for the inquiry to see what has happened, why it has happened, and what the lessons are for the government and also for the industry to make sure it doesn't ever happen again.
Shayla is now trying to get ongoing work with a security firm that offers better training and conditions.
The companies should put all their mind into looking after the guards. It's not the company owners that have to go and work there. It's just guards have to go and work there. But it's just security guards take more risks than they think. It's just standing there doing nothing.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.